So, what is female privilege? If there is this belief in male privilege, because there's two sides to every coin. First of all, I wouldn't necessarily call it privilege, but there is another perspective than just the one that, the world is all based on male privilege and patriarchy. And in certain cities like Portland, and perhaps some others, you see more of what one could actually call female privilege. And, in certain cities, it may seem a little reversed. But from my perspective in living here, I need to share this perspective of what female privilege could be understood to be. And it does tie in with some things that I've talked about in the past. But a lot of people like women around. Not just men, but women. It's not just a sexual thing, Women are part of nature. Women represent that life-giving force. And there's something that really attracts men and women to the female torso or the image of the goddess, regardless of, regardless of the nature of that woman's character, simply based on how she looks. Men and women seem to be hypnotized. It seems to be stamped into our biology to be constantly wanting to have women around us. And not just a few, as many as we possibly can. Women and men both seem to be very similar in that regard. Not all women, of course, get along with other women. And so I don't exactly mean it as literal. But when we look at, for example, management, when we look at the type of employees that some managers like to hire at certain restaurants, it's based around that consensus reality. A lot of people prefer, especially in today's lustful world, a beautiful woman to wait on them. For a lot of people, it's what they deserve. It's what they demand. Yeah, I remember actually working at a truck stop. I don't really want to talk about it. But I was like 18 or 19, and, there was a few complaints from a few truckers. Like, I don't want a man waiting on me. And, to be honest with you, I don't necessarily want a man to cut my hair. I don't mind. I don't mind if he's gay. I prefer he not be flaming to the point where he's flirting with me and being very, but, no, I know what it's like to actually prefer a female to cut my hair. And, it just seems natural. So there's going to be that aspect of female privilege in our society where people rather have some, sweet, sugary and sweet, and everything nice. And a lot of women, certain women smell good. And there's a number of men that don't smell as good. And again, the female body is something that's very attractive to not only men but women, which is why you can find a group of girls that enjoy going to a strip club. They actually sexually enjoy it. They like going to the strip club. They like seeing, their boyfriend get a little, into it. They're laughing, they're giggling. I'm not judging. I'm describing nature to you. Welcome to Earth. Hi, I'm Alex. I'm your tour guide. You've been lied to a little bit about Earth. Let me explain how things actually are. Welcome. Have a seat. Have a drink. Just not too much. And so they love to see that naked torso. I don't know of any heterosexual guys that like to go and see a hard, erect penis swinging them in the face. We're not like that. So, do we ever think about biology? Why we enjoy what we enjoy? So men and women both are attracted to that female energy. They want to have that female in their house. That life-giving force. That sexy mama. It's trustworthy. Have the woman around the children. Have good-looking waitresses. Just out of high school or still in high school. It would be good for business. People like seeing titties. Yeah. So what we have here is in a world where it's become increasingly lustful and all about the body, and a lot of men have been left behind. And when men are left behind, they do drugs, or they get involved in certain things. Some will choose to understand reality, understand suffering, as did the Buddha. Buddha wanted to understand suffering, where it came from. He came to understand it was about desire. There are men today on a parallel journey that have walked away from their jobs, that have walked away from their possessions, in some cases walked away from their families, or have taken time away from their families and gone back because they're on the spiritual journey towards true self-discovery in a world where we are lied to. That's not male privilege. It's not male privilege to live a certain way, or for that matter, to live in poverty. Now, ultimately, this isn't female privilege, what I'm talking about, because down the line, you have major repercussions for a society where the good men are taken off and they're nowhere to be found, and only the men that are left are men willing to play the game, men that are cutthroat, men that are willing to do what it takes to stay in that management job. And I've worked for enough middle managers and known enough to know what some of them can be like. And we're talking about some heartless dudes. And we should not fall to resentment. But there are certain types of males that seem to flourish in the world of middle management. And more so some than others. But the point is, people don't give enough thought to how, in some cases, because of man and mankind's lower nature, how women are given preference over men and how men suffer and how society becomes out of balance. There's not enough honesty about this. And the little story I told you about women being able to enjoy the strip club, even though there's so much darkness and drugs and prostitution and abuse that actually goes on alongside some of those industries. The very fact that there's more female porno stars than there are female truthers should be another red light. We are a lustful, for the most part, Homo sapien species with a very small minority of its population waking up to the deeper truth as to what we are. And so that is why you're seeing this preference for the female in this lustful world and men being cast aside. And people like me and others care about where the society is going. So even though it seems like, there's female privilege and they have it easier, it's not going to be easier down the line when men aren't around to protect them and when they're in the full scope of the machine as the walls close in. And the walls are closing in now. There is a technological takeover happening now. We are being merged with machines more and more incrementally. Larger steps to World War III are being made this time. We're one day closer to the next aspect of this recession or depression. And so all the stuff is building. It's building. It's building. It's building. Something is being built. Some sort of Babylon is being built. Some sort of new Atlantis is being built. Some sort of something is being built for who or for what and when, I don't know. But I can feel it. And men and women got to get out of this box of just seeing the other group as being privileged. We got to figure out how we can help each other and be in union, because we have already been torn apart, not only in relationships, but our very families in some cases. You keep hearing this rhetoric about male privilege, male privilege, male privilege. People got to wake up and see how in some areas it looks more like female privilege, but it's only the illusion of privilege. Because in the end, it's a manufactured gender war. And their goal is to tear us apart. And the solution is to not let us tear us apart, to not destroy our manhood or womanhood, if you're a woman. Regardless of whether you're male or female, you have a right to feel your masculine and feminine energies, and that has nothing to do with homosexuality. It's part of being in balance, your left and your right brain. It's part of being a fully functioned human being. And that's a solution. That's what we need. And that's what we need to promote. And we all can take part in that. Thank you for watching.